I've said it over and over and over again. My favorite Gibson Les Paul and the most consistently rad tops and backs go out to the Gibson Les Paul Supreme. Except Gibson stopped making it. Gibson, bring back the Les Paul Supreme. Every single thing about this guitar makes me happy. From the fact that it has this beautiful, beautiful, I'd call this a 5A maple top. Stunning level maple with an incredible amount of 3D character to it. And what they call chevron pattern. You have the super tight grain this way, but you also have a really interesting kind of tic-tac-toe pattern this way. And one of the things I love about these guitars is, you know, where a lot of people complain about their Les Paul not having enough flame on the top of it, these guitars, even the backs of them, tend to be better than the greatest Les Pauls. And they're not from the custom shop. There are very few Les Paul Supremes that I've seen that I didn't think had incredible, incredible tops and backs. They made a few different iterations of the Supreme. There's this guy, which was pretty much what you see standard for Supremes from 2003 to 2013. There's a few solid colored ones, but this is what they looked like for the most part. Then in 2014 and 2015, they came out with this wild thing, which had the floating neck bucker up here and the F holes. Absolutely beautiful guitar. This one in Caribbean blue. Although a lot of people thought, what the heck with this Supreme headstock logo, which I have to agree, kind of weird, but what a beautiful 120th anniversary guitar. Look at the tops on these guitars. Look at the backs on these guitars. They're amazing. Gibson, I want to see Les Pauls like this all of the time. And then at one point, for the Guitars of the Month, they made this badass Autumn Burst Les Paul Supreme. It has a quilt top and a flame maple back, which is a little bit unusual, but as you can see, I really wouldn't compare them. But this is the only Supreme that I've seen that didn't have the best woods. And then if you look at the 125th anniversary Supreme, those guys had some of the craziest wood I've ever seen on any Les Paul. In fact, they were so hard to make, they only made 38 of them instead of 125 because Gibson didn't have enough good quality wood at that level to make anything more than 38 of them in 2018, 19-ish. I want to say thanks to Jeff Allen, who was the CEO of Gibson USA at the time in 2003, along with Tom Montgomery, who is the plant manager, and then Keith Medley, who basically helped design a bunch of the cool features of this guitar. Jeff, he wanted to make a higher end Les Paul that was really going to stick out amongst the pack. That's really how the name Supreme came because, well, everything about this guitar is Supreme. The frets are all gold. Whatever they used for fret wire, if they were able to take the nickel out of it, they were able to keep the gold color, and they were actually 20% harder frets. So the frets on this are gonna last a really long time. And it has a super classy look to it because, well, it's gold. You have the gold Les Paul truss rod cover and a beautiful logo that you only find on these guitars with kind of like the world inlaid in abalone and gold with Supreme beautifully inlaid on it. It's just gorgeous. To me, that's one of the coolest headstocks, especially as a collector, to have in your arsenal. But Jeff realized that to really achieve that Supreme look, put a maple cap on the back. There's no plastic covers, which leads for a very, very interesting design because how the hell does this work? How do you get the things in? And that's the fact that if you look at this thing sideways, it's thicker and it has a carved back. And the way that they did it was they basically took all the guts, they wired it out here. So they used longer and thicker gauge wire and shoved them all through this plate. So there's actually, you don't put anything through here. All of the pots and all of this was wired out here and then shoved in, which is kind of a crazy concept. But because of that, they had to use better quality wire. They had to insulate it. They ended up chambering the body. So basically you have a normal piece of mahogany, but now with a top and a back cap of maple. And it's all routed. So basically the way they were able to get this three-way toggle in here was they actually routed this area out more so that they could kind of fish it up through the neck pickup. Wild. It also has the 490 and 498 humbuckers on it, which are some of my favorite Les Paul pickups. I love the 57s, but I absolutely love the 490 and 498, which is another reason why I really liked this robot guitar, because it has my favorite Supreme pickups, the 490 and the 498. Gibson, bring it back. I miss this guitar. Of all the things that you're making, bring it back. The other thing that I loved about this is it's got the split block inlays, and there's just something super, super classy about it. Every time I pick up this guitar, it calls to me. The only thing that I will say about this specific guitar that my buddy Jeff pointed out, which is kind of hilarious, is that if you look at the book matching, it's not centered. So it's kind of like, and I said this in another video, it's kind of like Tom Cruise's teeth. A little off center, just like me. Let's just hear what some strummed chords sound like on the 490 and 498. Sounds pretty good. Wow. I love it. I think it sounds great. But let's see how it sounds distorted. Rhythm. Resonates. I mean, I have to attribute it. I can feel the resonance of this. Super chambered. I mean, definitely get a different sound with the chambering. I love the 490. I love the 498. This guitar plays like butter. It's just Supreme in so many different ways. So I'll ask one more time very nicely. Gibson, I'm even wearing your shirt. Please, pretty please, with a cherry on top, bring back the Supreme.
Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?